the game?
We're telling them to sit tight, that help is on the way, that it's being recognized, the devastation that's occurred here in both Homestead and Florida City, and that we met with the governor yesterday. He toured the community. The president was in earlier. It's just a matter of coordinating the efforts. We're exceptionally pleased with our neighbors to the south in Monroe County. They sent people up immediately. North Carolina is here with officers. South Carolina is here with officers, and the National Guard's here.
Yeah, we understood even before the hurricane happened that folks from Charleston were on their way because they could so relate to this.
Yeah, absolutely. And the word that we're getting from the folks from Charleston, and of course it's hearsay, but they're saying that Hugo didn't hold a candle to what has occurred here in Deep South Dade.
Mr. Mayor, give us a game plan. Where do you begin?
That's the overwhelming aspect of what we have before us. We have begun generally with trying to provide arterial access to the community so that our emergency crews can get out. As you all know, and you've flown over it, the mobile home parks were just absolutely devastated. The areas to the east of Homestead and south of Homestead have been places where people could reasonably expect to have survived a storm. We want to make sure that no one is injured or is hurt in those areas.
Will you have to evacuate people, clear people out so that you can rebuild, restore power, restore some semblance of order before you can move them back in?
I'm sorry, I heard the evacuate part. What did you say?
Well, do you expect that you will have to move people out of entire communities so that you can go to work in there and then move them back into their homes?
The evacuation is almost self-determined by the quality of housing. And in many areas of our city, there simply is no housing. So it's almost a de facto removal of people. We're setting up shelters. Homestead Middle School is a shelter. Several of the churches are helping out. Waste management is coming in. We're setting up some housing for contract labor. There are just a number of things that are taking place, but as far as the evacuation, we're encouraging those that obviously have no particular need to be here. We don't really need sightseers at the moment. You all are doing an outstanding job with your aerial views and your reporters. Let them see it on the TV.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking. Get somebody up north to record it on the VCR if you wish, because we're going to show you just about everything you need to see. Do you have a feel for whether you have accounted for everybody, or is there a concern you may find some more victims when all is said and done?
We feel pretty good. We've not had any relatives coming in looking for other relatives at this point, and normally, if one were missing, we would be hearing that. There's still a tremendous amount of devastation. We sent our police officers and the dogs into the worst areas, and thank God they're finding nobody, which is wonderful.
Yeah, it sure is. What do you do today? We know long range are still putting together, but on Wednesday, after this has all happened, what's the primary focus for today?
Well, what we're doing today is, again, coordinating the offers that are being made throughout the country, really, with equipment and people and those types of things. We do have water restored in a number of areas in the city. Electricity is probably going to be a month to 2 months away. We're prioritizing, as you know, Homestead generates its own power, and we're prioritizing the areas to be brought back online. The command center, of course, is up. We're working on the hospital and other areas to bring them up.
Mr. Mayor, what about the long-range economic impact? It may be too soon for you to address these issues with any thoroughness, but you're looking at an Air Force base that was wiped out. Lord knows if the government will decide to rebuild it or not. You're looking at a baseball stadium you invested $10 million in. You've got to put a lot of money back into that. What about the economic impact? A lot of jobs that have been lost. Do you expect that most of those jobs will not be able to be replaced because of what's happened?
Well, the baseball stadium, I toured the stadium yesterday, and the consensus is that we'll have spring baseball. I guess it's kind of in Congress to talk about baseball in the middle of a disaster. But baseball does mean between $12 and $15 million of economic quality to a community. The Cleveland Indians have expressed a great deal of support. They're sending food resources and other personnel to help out to the community, so they've made a very deep commitment. Homestead Air Force Base as you all probably know, a number of us went to Washington this past spring to meet with our congressional leaders and the Chief of Staff of the Air Force. I can't say optimistic that we'll see Homestead Air Force Base again. I hope that we will, because of the threat that was existing with Castro and others that caused Homestead to survive the first round of cuts. So that's a major economic commitment for the federal government to make to rebuild Homestead.
Yeah, that could be a real double whammy. And to be truthful with you, when I was talking with Governor Lawton Childs yesterday, I said, I worry about this because the government's been trying to do away with air bases wherever they could. And he said, you have every right to worry about it. We are very frightened by the implications of this. So we'll just hope for the best.
On that yesterday, and I hope that we're both wrong, that the governor's wrong, and that all of us are wrong on that. But that's a strong possibility.
Mr. Mayor, for the community at large that's listening and watching and looking at this devastation, for folks living in Pompano, Deerfield, Boca, South Broward, what can we do to help?
I guess the first thing is, again, offer the prayers. If we can coordinate through the command center here at City Hall, the 247-1801 number, that'll be a big help. I had, I've grown up here in Homestead and went to Lower Matacumbe Key right after Hurricane Donna came through in 1960, where we had the 200-mile-an-hour winds and the storm surge. And I don't believe that Donna did anything differently than what Homestead had, with the exception we didn't have the storm surge. But the trees look